Welcome to Inside China Politics. This channel breaks down China's political system, elite power dynamics, and the deeper logic behind Beijing's decisions. I'm Deng Yuwen. Let's get started. China has entered a new stage in its long-term national strategy. During the recent Fourth Plenum, the Chinese Communist Party released its blueprint for the 15th Five-Year Plan. On the surface, it looks like a typical government document filled with policy language. But beneath the technical wording lies a clear message. China wants to accelerate its path toward Chinese-style modernization and close the remaining gap with the United States. The West has largely overlooked this intention. But inside China, the conversation is very different. Many Chinese scholars now openly state that China is approaching a historic moment, a moment when it can catch up with the United States. This idea is not new. It goes back to Mao Zedong. In the 1950s, Mao predicted that China would need about 75 years to match the United States. He also said that 75 years equals 15 five-year plans. At the time, this sounded unrealistic. But today, China is finishing the 14th plan and preparing for the 15th. That 75-year timeline suddenly does not look far away. Over the past decade, China has completed its foundational industrial modernization, and during the 14th plan, U.S. pressure pushed China to accelerate technology substitution, supply chain autonomy, and national resilience. As a result, many in China believe the 15th plan could mark the beginning of a period when China's national power converges with that of the United States. Although the official document does not explicitly mention catching up with America, the strategic direction is unmistakable. The plan is shaped by intense U.S.-China competition. It emphasizes security, resilience, and long-term national strength. Beijing describes the 15th plan as a decisive period for Chinese-style modernization. Stripping away technical language, the plan can be understood through four core goals. First, China wants to secure high-end technological and industrial autonomy. In other words, it wants to reduce or eliminate dependence on Western choke point technologies. Second, China wants to expand domestic demand and improve the efficiency of its economic system. This is meant to support large-scale and sustainable growth. Third, China wants to modernize national defense. It seeks stronger sea, air, and space capabilities to ensure strategic security. Fourth, China wants to shape international rules, economic structures, and technology frameworks. By doing so, it hopes to influence the long-term direction of global order. The document never uses the phrase "catch America," but the intention is clear. To understand whether China can achieve this during the 15th Five-Year Plan, we can examine three areas: economic scale, strategic technologies, and military capability. Part 1. The economic picture. China's GDP reached about 77% of U.S. GDP in 2021. By last year, that number dropped to 64%. This decline did not reflect weaker Chinese growth. It came mainly from currency depreciation and inflation differences. In 2021, the Chinese yuan was around 6.35 to the dollar. Last year, it weakened to 7.29. At the same time, the United States experienced high inflation, while China faced disinflation. But if we measure the economy in Chinese yuan, or by purchasing power parity, China is already larger than the United States. Under PPP, China's economy is roughly 1.5 times the size of the U.S. economy. If both countries keep their current growth patterns, China could take about 13 more years to catch up in nominal terms. That means around 2035 to 2038. A stronger yuan would shorten the timeline. A weaker yuan would delay it. Under mid-range expectations, China's GDP could reach more than 80% of America's by the end of the 15th plan. But GDP alone does not reveal the full picture. In areas such as industrial output, manufacturing scale, exports, engineering talent, infrastructure efficiency, robotics deployment, shipbuilding capacity, and military-industrial production, China already leads. These strengths continue to grow. United Nations data suggests that China's share of global manufacturing could rise to around 40% within 5 years. Meanwhile, America's share may fall toward 12%. Beijing sees this industrial dominance as the foundation of national power. Part 2. Technology and Innovation. The most overlooked accomplishment of the 14th Plan is China's progress in building a self-reliant industrial and technological system. China has reached or surpassed many of its national goals. Batteries, solar panels, smart equipment, 5th-generation networks, satellite systems, rail transit, and ultra-high voltage transmission. The United States still holds advantages in advanced lithography, semiconductor design tools, key materials, and top scientific institutions. But China has built strong scale advantages. And U.S. pressure has accelerated China's drive towards self-reliance. China's realistic path over the next 5 years is not to replace Silicon Valley. Instead, it aims to build a parallel technology universe. A system with its own computing architecture, industrial software, advanced machinery, materials, and dual-use innovation pipelines. If these fundamental layers advance, China's technological rise will not be tactical. It will be systemic. Part 3. Military Capability. China's military modernization is moving quickly. It is shifting from a defensive strategy to integrated offensive and defensive capability. This includes hypersonic weapons, merged sea-air space sensing networks, expanded nuclear forces, modern submarines, and rapid progress in unmanned systems. By the end of the 15th Plan, China's 3rd aircraft carrier will be fully operational. A 4th carrier may begin sea trials. Unmanned naval and air platforms will be deployed at scale. Inside the first island chain, China and the United States could enter a phase of near parity. This does not necessarily mean war. Beijing sees it as a way to achieve credible deterrence and crisis stability. Part 4. What this means for global power. If China narrows the gaps in the economy, technology, and military strength, Mao's long-term prediction may be close to becoming reality. The global order would no longer be dominated by a single center of power. Instead, it would evolve toward a dual-center system, shaped by US-China competition. China still lags in areas such as per capita income, global finance, dollar-based influence, elite scientific talent, intelligence, networks, and cultural influence. The United States maintains advantages in these domains. China will need institutional reforms and financial innovation to close these gaps. But historically, great powers rise through industrial and military strength first. Financial and ideological influence follow later. The United States gained global financial dominance only after it became the world's strongest industrial and military power. Part 5. The real risk. The greatest risk of the 15th Five-Year Plan is not China's ambition. It is Western complacency. If Washington continues to be trapped in political division, budget disputes, and internal gridlock, it may wake up a decade from now facing a peer competitor. China is not waiting for permission to rise. It is building a new foundation of industrial capacity, technological strength, and strategic security. The 15th Five-Year Plan is not simply an administrative document. It is China's roadmap for entering a new phase of great power competition. You've been watching Inside China Politics. If you find this analysis helpful, please like, subscribe, and share the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.